Hey, everybody, God bless you. Those that are going to join us live, or even to those that are going to join us later. I just want to thank you for dropping in. I am coming to you just on a random thought. I have my niece, Mackenzie, here, and she is a graduate of 2 years from high school, and she's had some experiences that she feels she's passionate, that's made her passionate about discussions in the mental health field. So I thought it would be good for us to come on here. Perhaps we'd be able to influence someone else. So we're just going to have a random conversation. You can feel free to drop your questions in there. If we can talk about it, let's talk about it. But if not, we'll just have this little quick live. So, all right. Well, listen, join us. Do me a favor. Those that do come on, I want you to like and share and subscribe and tag somebody. All right. All right. So let me just get this all set up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is my niece, Mackenzie, and Mackenzie, she's 20 years old now, and I've watched her grow up from a baby, and I was very proud when she graduated from high school, and always glad to see her. So our chemistry is very good, and she came over today by surprise, and so we after talking, just having random conversation, we thought, well, let's go ahead and do a live. So, Mackenzie, you want to say anything about yourself? Because we wanted to talk about, she's a little bashful, but we want to talk about mental health. And she's obviously, um, you're Gen Z. She's a Gen Z, that generation that has a lot to offer and a lot to give to us. So we want to talk about mental health, and I certainly want to hear from the Gen Zs. So your thoughts, just your basic thoughts. It wasn't always a good idea, or for others, our society, our community, um, and then you have different thoughts on it. And you want to talk about that a little bit?
So yeah, I feel like mental health within my generation is a big issue, but I feel like our generation has came more to like accept the fact that we have like anxiety and depression, and our backgrounds are like our parents have huge anxiety and depression. They come from hard backgrounds, and
Mm.
generational curses need to be broken
Mm.
and stuff like that. So
That's
yes,
a good start. So you have a lot of thoughts on the issue. Something that came or occurred to me is that there's a gap, or there is a difference in the way that the generation, our parents, thought, and the way that they believe, and the way that they feel, and the way Gen Zs feel. So you find that there's a gap there. You want to talk about it?
mm,
I mean, without,
yeah,
I
there's
mean,
a
it may
gap.
not be your situation, but other people that you know of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. There's definitely a gap. Like, I feel like the older generation, they were more like, especially black people, they
Mm-hmm.
were more like, we have to get up and go. We have to get up and do it now. We can't sit and wait and think about our mental health because we have food to put on the table for our kids, and we have to make sure that we can do everything that we can do. And
Hmm.
our generation, we just try not to put our mental health on the back burner. We try to make sure that we're okay so we can take care of everybody else. Because if you're not okay, you can't make sure that everybody else is okay.
So it's more about with the previous generations. They know that there are routines, that there are responsibilities, and things that you have to do, and they feel that if you give attention and passion to, or just sit down and give any kind of credence whatsoever to anxiety and depression, they want you to snap out of it, Don't sit down like you're sinking into it and don't even address it. Ignore it and handle the things you know that you have to do and can do. So that's a big disparity now. As you mentioned, our society or our group of people, we really had a problem with therapists. Now, I did therapy in well, I was in the ninth grade, so it's about 14 because um, I had gotten saved. My friends were living in different type of home environments. So they were allowed to do and say things and be things and go places. And it was just a problem to me not to be able to go. I wanted to be able to go and do things that they did. So, I wasn't rebellious per se as a teenager, but I didn't appreciate all the restrictions. So for that reason, I would have differences between me and my parents. Now, you didn't talk back, you didn't do anything like that, but they knew that I wasn't happy, so my parents put me in therapy. So I would tell my friends, I had four other best friends at school in high school. So we kind of shared everything. And when I told them I was going to therapy, it was a joke. Oh, you're going to see your shrink, okay, now, or okay, today is your day to go, all right. So it wasn't well accepted then, not well accepted among many of our culture now, but your generation, you think they're going to change that?
Yeah, I definitely see, especially a lot on social media. A lot of people base their like pages on like mental health.
Okay, so they come out with the issue. They come out talking about the issues, and I think that that's a big plus because they don't feel a need to hide or put on a face or facade for somebody else, and just say what really is on their mind unapologetically, not embarrassed or anything, but they put it out there. And so, what kind of responses did they get?
I was just about to say, sometimes they get like bad responses. Everybody, there are haters in the world. Everybody's gonna like, give a bad response. But there are a lot of good ones that's like telling them like keep going, you're doing good and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like with social media being out, although social media is like the downfall of my generation.
Because they have so much of an influence
Yeah.
on the way you feel about yourself and the way you compare to other people. Okay.
That's one of the reasons why I'm going to therapy now. I have that issue. But
Okay.
But that's one of the downfalls. But other than that, with social media being out, it's like they're putting more like some type of positivity in the world. Like you see people going on there and they like I'm trying to find a word. They're like loving their bodies, loving themselves, like even with all their flaws, you see people like posting not with like filters or makeup. You see their actual selves. Like it's not all bad on social media, but you do have your times where it's like
there are things that are complete polar opposites.
Yeah.
To the good and the positive things about that group. What would you say that we could do to connect better with the older generation, to have good mental health? And that's, when you say mental health, it's almost as if you're saying the person is, has some kind of mental, psychological debility. And we're not saying that at all. What we're saying is that, if you're struggling with something, you're still depressed about something you've been depressed about for years, and it still makes you sad, then you're not under control. So how can we um, bring that together between generations? Is it through discussion? Is it just through setting examples? Is it just through telling them differences in our experiences? Where do you think that could fall in at?
I would say telling like differences between the experiences because I like to hear from like older women how they went through life. I love when they come to my job and tell me or give me advice on how to do things and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's kind of hard because your generation was a little bit more respectful to,
Mm-hmm.
well, not even a little bit, you're a lot of bit more respectful to the older people. My generation, not that much.
I
They don't
know.
really, they
They
don't
don't really
really.
feel, I don't want to get us off course, but why is that as if they despise age? Even get depressed when they start aging.
Yeah, I always say like I want to turn 21 and just stop getting old.
Well, Forever 21, right? It's just not.
But um, I don't know. It's just I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say like older people don't respect them, so they don't respect older people, or some older people feel like they can talk to them however, and then they don't like that. I heard a lot of examples like that.
I get that part, I get that part. But they talked to us rough. We were just like, okay, yes, ma'am, no, sir, that kind of thing. So I get that part, just because, I'm 18 or 19 or 20 doesn't give you liberty to just snap at me and just, speak harsh to me.
Mm,
But it's almost as if you have to earn it because already you're at a deficit and you have to prove yourself that you're worthy of their respect. Where it should be everything's okay. Oh, but now you're talking like this, and then go the other way. So, but it's like it's made into their head. It's baked into them that if they're older, it's a bad thing.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's a big one because
Yeah.
I even heard someone say one time that oh my gosh, I'm about to turn a certain age and it's just awful. And oh, okay, Joe Kid. Okay, so you're from Kenya. I was wondering last night. Thanks for joining us and feel free to drop any questions or comments in. Um, but I heard somebody say, oh, I'm going to turn 30 years old. And they were so depressed. They were like, this is just awful. They were just horrified that they were about to turn 30 years old.
I think everybody just wants to stay in their youth. I think everyone just wants to stay old. I mean, young. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to get old and just slow down. And yeah, I just think everybody just want to stay
I think
young.
so too. I mean, I always said when I was 16, I said, I'm never going to change. I am never going to let myself get fat. I am never going to let myself lose my shape. I am never going to let myself just go down. I said all that. I was 16. Not, realizing that science and, your body, gravity, and all the other things that happen in life that make you look different, turn different. But not only that, if you always stayed that age, you would never gain some of the wisdom, that you could get from growing older. And they said that they just despise turning that age. And I want you to know that their birthday was coming up in a month, and they died before their birthday.
Um,
Sadly, but then at that moment, you want to live. You want to live.
yeah.
It's not an issue. And then I know of another person that when they turned 40, they just abandoned their whole household. They left their kids, left their husband, just ran off. Couldn't take it because age was something that they could not endure. Now, I'm going to give my little spin on it. In addition to what you're saying, I think that this goes in addition, not superseded. But I think in addition that as you age, um, you do get a chance to look back on some things, and also as you age, you get past some seasons in life. You have physically, you can look at the physical stages of man. You have your infancy. No infant wants to stay in the crib. They may want mama to pick them up sometime, but then later on they realize you got to walk. And then you go from there to being in school, and that may not be their thing at first, but then eventually. And then they go from being in school to getting into that. And I'm going through the stages of life as they're listed. Then there's the age of the romantic, where you begin to realize your own changes in your own body, your sexuality, and your maturity, and it changes, and begin to appreciate and recognize, and you focus on that. And then you go into looking at the other gender, which was, don't touch me, ugh, I hate boys kind of thing. All that changes. And so then you go to another stage of life where now you're the young adult. I got to figure out a way to make sure that if I'm going to be on my own and do what I want to do, I can afford to do it. I can afford to do what I want to do, and I can dress nice at the same time and not starve. So that means I got to get a good job, right? Yeah. And then you go through your childbearing years. You go through your career season. You go through losing people. Because as you get older, Auntie's going to get older. And changes are going to happen. And there's a whole nother, never worry about me, there's a whole nother world, that God has prepared that I actually look forward to. So we start looking at things differently. So if we were forever in that age group, it may be fun. It has its excitement and it has its benefits, but it also prevents you from getting to a lot of things that are out there for you. So I just think that's a good start of conversation. What do you think?
Yeah, it was.
So we can have another conversation later. Me and Mackenzie gonna probably go back and have some more conversation, just between me and her. I don't get a chance to have this time with her because she's a busy young lady and she's doing a lot, but she got a chance to come see Auntie today. So with that, thank you for joining us. Those that joined us, and I didn't see any comments. Hey, Paris, God bless you, Clarissa. You're another one with a Gen Z. She's a Gen Z. Yes, yes, yes. So I want to just say that me and Mackenzie, we will be back at another time, another opportunity, whenever God allows. So thanks for joining us. Anything you want to say to those that are viewing or that will view?
Well, bye.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming and thanks for the topic. It was mental health, good mental health awareness, even getting counseling. If you need counseling, do what you need to do so that you're not struggling in your own head and in your own heart and destroying your body while you're doing it. Okay? All right. Well, God bless you, everybody. And thanks again for joining Reset for Ministries. Just a random talk. Valerie and my niece Mackenzie. God bless you.